Courage means to me that even during hardship and adversity, that you can come back from it and you can fight for what you need and want. So being a wounded healer means to me that I've gone through a lot of stuff in my life, and I'm now able to take that wisdom and turn it into hope for other people so that they can also live their best lives.
It all feels like all that suffering and all that hard stuff that I went through is now worth it. You know, it's made me strong. You know, it's made me learn a lot, and I'm able to share that with people so they can maybe help folks along the way as we're trying to do.
I was very, very depressed, and I was suicidal. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to continue, and when you're in those moments, especially in high school, you believe that is it. That when you're in high school especially and you're being bullied, you believe that it's going to be like that forever and you're never going to get over it. I was able to survive those really dark thoughts and those really lonesome times. So I would just want those bullies to just know what I went through and to make sure they don't do it to anybody else and know that it needs to stop.
Well, my objective really isn't being an inspiration, but really an encouragement. I'm not perfect. There's no way for me to be able to be perfect, and I don't want to be put on a pedestal of any kind. But what it means is, if I, as challenged as I am, can overcome these mountains, then you too can overcome mountains. We just have to have the faith in it and the perseverance and never giving up.
I think one of the greatest achievements I've done is, you know, I can mention all these stuff I've done, but maybe it's the ability to inspire others and change something in their own life from my story, you know, to change their perspective on something, to have an open mind on something. I believe you can do anything. I've done things and exceed things that I thought were impossible, you know. The limit is what you set in your mind.
Please welcome members of the Eagle Song Dancers for a special welcoming ceremony.
OCM, Chukmahat, Tan Kushaman Sa'apalak Stomoksna. Wonderful to see you all here. Want to welcome you in a traditional manner as our ancestors would have welcomed you to our longhouse. We are very tied to this land, and we are very excited that you're having your celebration here in our territory. We want to sing a song for you that comes from one of our lady ancestors who had difficulty walking, but when the family stood up and sang for her, she was able to bypass her disabilities and she was able to dance. This song has that medicine of transition, and it is our way of clearing an area of any negativity, as is our tradition. Our teachings say that when you come into a place like this as a family, we remind you that outside on the wall there's an imaginary nail in which we invite you to hang any negativity, heaviness, and leave it outside. Has no business being with us when we're together like this as a family. The song comes from that spirit, the spirit of our lady ancestor, and the spirit of change. The song is called Tum Tum Slolum, and it acknowledges the white birds, the swans, when they return. It is a time of change. Aichka, Hosiam, wishing you all a wonderful evening. Whoa, 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 he, whoa, he, whoa, he, whoa, he, whoa, he, aha, aha, yeah. Whoa, whoa, he, whoa, he, whoa, he, whoa, he, whoa, he, wo he, aha, ahaya, wo he, wo he, wo he. Aha, ahaya, wo he, wo he, wo he, wo he, wo he, aha, ahaya, wo he, wo he, wo he, wo he, wo he, aha, ahaya. OCM, Haichka, have a wonderful evening.
Good evening, everyone. Wow. Please join me in thanking the Eagle Song Dancers once again for that incredible performance and opening to our evening. My name is Keir McDonald, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Coast Mental Health, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here tonight as we gather on the shared unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We are grateful to them and their ancestors for this land on which so many of us live and work. Distinguished guests, thank you for joining us this evening for the 26th Courage to Come Back Awards, presented by Wheaton Precious Metals. Tonight we're coming together to celebrate 5 incredible individuals and to raise vital funds for Coast Mental Health. I wanted to start by sharing a little about what it is we do at Coast Mental Health and how your support this evening will make a difference in the lives of people living with mental illness. Coast provides what we call community-based mental health services. What we mean by this is that where a hospital might provide intensive short-term care for acute and severe mental health conditions, we provide long-term housing, support services, and employment and training opportunities that allow people to live and thrive in our communities. Later this evening, you'll learn more about Daly, whose story really shows what that looks like in practice, and we're so lucky to have her with us tonight too. And hers is just one of many inspirational stories we're going to hear tonight. So without further ado, let's get the evening started. I'm thrilled to introduce the hosts of the 2024 Courage to Come Back Awards, community reporter for Global BC, Severe Pirani, and entrepreneur and co-founder of the Jilly Box, or you might know her from Love It or List It Vancouver, Jillian Harris.
Thank you so much, Keir. Yes, I'm not Chris Galis, and as you can tell, I'm nowhere near as tall as him, but as your program did indicate, he was meant to be here tonight, but unfortunately Chris is under the weather. But I'm thrilled to be here this evening with the fabulous Jillian Harris for the 26th Annual Coast Mental Health Courage to Come Back Awards presented by Wheaton Precious Metals, and I'm very much looking forward to all the stories this year.
It's going to be an incredible evening, Sophia. I'm so excited to be doing this with you in a room full of incredibly generous, beautiful humans. I have to say, I am always amazed by the depth of Coast Mental Health. Coast provides, as you know, community-based mental health supports to so many, offering dozens of programs that create supportive environments and keep folks on their mental health recovery journey, which is so important.
And tonight we're going to learn about many of those programs and give you the opportunity to support Coast Mental Health Foundation. With your help, we can ensure that people living with mental illness have a meaningful place in our community.
I know that you all are going to find this evening absolutely so inspiring. And I hope as you watch these stories and meet the recipients, please know that your support means so much to so many people who are really trying to cope with mental illness beyond the recipients that you're meeting tonight. Thank you all so much for being here.
We're honored to have some VIPs and dignitaries with us tonight, and you can see their names up on the big screen, and a very big thank you for all of them for being here tonight.
So we do want to take a moment to thank two very special people, the co-chairs of the Courage to Come Back Awards.
Joining us at table number 48, we've got Mr. Eric Carlson, CEO and core founder of Anthem Properties, and also this year's event co-chair.
And of course, at center table 68, the president of Kingswood Properties and the other co-chair of the Courage to Come Back Awards for the 19th year, Mr. Lauren Siegel. Good to see you again, Lauren. Thank you again for having me back.
We'd also like to acknowledge our sponsors, whose generous support helps make evenings like these possible. First and foremost, we'd like to thank Wheaton Precious Metals, our presenting sponsor once again this year.
And thank you as well to our platinum sponsor, RBC Royal Bank, and our gold sponsor, Canada Life.
We would also like to thank our silver sponsor, Vanmark Constructors, and our bronze sponsor, BC Housing.
And lastly, but of course not least, we want to thank our incredible support from our media partners, City News 1130, and of course the best, Global BC. Let's give a big round of applause to all of our sponsors.
Tonight, we are going to celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of 5 remarkable British Columbians who have persevered and overcome extraordinary adversity. There are 5 categories for these awards: mental health, addiction, medical, physical rehabilitation, and a youth category.
So tonight, you're going to be able to see their very, very inspiring stories that are so full of hope. And together, we're going to acknowledge their achievements and how they've come back to give back to this community.
We're also here to support Coast Mental Health. For over 50 years, Coast Mental Health has been empowering people living with mental illness by providing 3 essential pillars of sustained recovery. That's housing, supportive services, and employment and education.
So every donation to Coast Mental Health Foundation, including the ones that are going to be donated here tonight, allows Coast to go above and beyond in supporting folks through their recovery. As a leader in community-based care, Coast Mental Health is a critical link between the hospital services and our communities. With the support of generous donors, Coast proves that every day from recovery from serious mental illness is possible.
Now, I'm a news gal, Jillian, so here are some facts. Coast currently is providing a home to over 1,200 people across the Lower Mainland. Over 240 young people benefit from the specialist supports that Coast offers. And last year, Coast provided over 500,000 meals to people in need.
So those are some pretty incredible numbers, but we know that that's not it, right? That's not it. There is so much more support needed. I spoke about this last year briefly, but even myself personally, I have been in a situation recently where I'm reaching out looking for more help. The government funding just simply is not there. So having events like this and donors like yourself really do help make it all possible. And so tonight there's going to be 2 opportunities to support Coast Mental Health and ensure that even more people can get the help they deserve. And so later you're going to fill out the form sitting on your table, or if you'd rather give publicly, we're going to have an opportunity for you right after dinner. You can stand up and demonstrate your leadership and share your generosity.
Now, however you decide to give, and you can give both times if you wish, know that your support is truly appreciated and that your donation will provide essential programs and services for people with mental illness so that they can find a meaningful place in our community.
Okay, so as we heard earlier, Coast has dozens of programs that provide purpose and supportive environments for all Coast members. Essentials like basic hygiene, supplies, and meals. Crucial programs like peer support and brain training. And creative therapies like music and art therapy.
Art therapy helps to create an environment for Coast members that allows them to feel secure and gives them an opportunity to be open about their emotions. It can be incredibly effective for people coping with behavioral or emotional issues and can help foster mental wellness.
So Coast Mental Health is grateful to have partners like Wheaton Precious Metals who help make creative programs like art therapy possible. Let's take a look.
The Resource Center's art room has been available for clients to use for the past 2 decades. Research has found art therapy to be a high-benefit intervention to minimize symptoms and maximize functioning in individuals living with serious mental illness. And many people living with mental illness or substance use disorders are extremely creative. The art room gives them a safe space to express themselves and grow their self-esteem. Volunteers and peer support workers are on hand to guide participants. Over time, these connections also build trust and can lead to clients being connected to other invaluable resources like housing and medical support. At Wheaton Precious Metals, we take pride in supporting the services at Coast Mental Health that directly contribute to people's recovery, such as the art room. We invite you to join us in making a donation today.
So, here to announce the award for mental health representing our presenting sponsor, please welcome the Senior Vice President and CFO of Wheaton Precious Metals, Mr. Gary Brown.
Thank you, Jillian and Sophia, and thank you to Coast Mental Health for giving me the opportunity to witness firsthand just how incredible the outcomes can be from programs like the art therapy program. And that program is just one of many that Coast offers that gives people living with mental illness an outlet to channel their creativity, which gives them a sense of self-worth and that ikigai that I think all of us are searching for, which inevitably leads to much more positive futures for everybody. And I will say that the art that I witnessed being created in that room was exceptional, and I would love to see somebody help these artists set up some kind of online marketplace to sell their art, because I would definitely be a buyer. And on that note, I am honored to be the presenter for the Award for Mental Health this year, which is an award that recognizes someone who best represents the strength and courage that it takes to overcome the challenges of living with a mental illness. And this year's recipient not only has become an advocate for mental health and wellness, but has introduced empathy and compassion to the conversation.
I've had several people just say to me, just let her go, give up on her, just let her go. And I refuse to do that.
I experienced bullying all the way from elementary school, I would say up to college even, and what that looked like for me is a lot of name calling and people not wanting to spend time with me or play with me as a child, and then getting in trouble for wanting connection with people. And it felt like kind of an outcast, like on the outskirts, and that was really hard for me. It made me feel really sad and unwanted.
From a very young age, Bailey experienced mental health challenges. She talked of suicide and self-injured. Lacking appropriate mental health support, at the age of 11, she ran away to the downtown east side. She was put into youth psychiatric wards by police multiple times and was pregnant by the age of 13. At 14, she began using substances.
I did end up having an abortion. My mom did convince me to do it, which I believe now makes a lot of sense. I was, getting beaten like regularly, and so that was not a healthy environment for myself or the child. I don't know where the jump was to crystal meth, to be honest. I wasn't really dabbling in any drugs before that. I suspect I had a lot of trauma and was trying to cope with substance use. And once I tried it once or twice, I was hooked. And from 14 till 15 and a half, I was addicted to crystal meth.
Bailey was heading down a dark path of abuse and addiction. But news that she was going to become a big sister was the wake-up call she needed.
But I really wanted to be a good role model for my sister and have someone to look up to. And so I quit using substances around 15 and a half, and I haven't touched any substances since. I was an outreach worker for Crystal Clear BC for 4 years, so it solidified my purpose when I was volunteering with Crystal Clear BC because I saw the difference that it made to share my story with others who might be experiencing something similar, and it just really drove my passion and purpose. I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder when I was 18, and it felt like I finally put the puzzle pieces together, like it made sense. And I was able to find more community and identity through this diagnosis. Yeah, I never really feel like I fit in. I felt like I was crazy, that there was maybe something wrong with me when I was undiagnosed with BPD. And that's why it really clicked for me when I got the disorder, because I realized, this is a mental health condition. There isn't something intrinsically wrong with me or anyone living with a disorder or mental health issues.
But Bailey soon discovered that supports for people with BPD were extremely limited because of persistent stigma in the medical community. She found herself traveling hours every week for appointments. After finding adequate treatment herself, Bailey decided she could make a difference for others with BPD. She later got her master's in clinical social work to further her purpose of helping people.
So I co-founded the BPD Society BC, or Borderline Personality Disorder Society British Columbia, when I was 21 with another woman and our families. So they were all people with the disorder or their loved ones. And we started a support group in Victoria. It was a small support group, and it just grew from there.
I've known Bailey for about 4 years now, and I met her by accessing the services of the BPD Society of BC as I was having some mental health struggles at the time. And I was greeted by Bailey and her mother at the first meeting, and they were very warm and welcoming. And then as the meeting unfolded, I found myself, relating to a lot of the things that were being shared, and finally feeling a little bit understood.
And now we run support groups in different places throughout British Columbia. We have Victoria, Nanaimo, Vancouver, New West, and a virtual for anyone in the world, really.
It's entirely volunteer run and led by Bailey and her mom, Deb. So that's, to me, that's what her courage really allowed for, is it allowed for community to develop, and it allowed for people to develop an understanding and realize that it is important to talk about things, and it is important to get advice, and it is important to be understood.
My mom tells me often that I'm an inspiration, but honestly, it doesn't fully click in. I think maybe because it just feels like it's what I'm meant to do.
I want to stress that Bailey is the one who has put in the work. She's the one who lives this every day, and I'm so proud of the work that she has done and is continuing to do. And I think she's just an amazing, really strong young woman.
I share my story whenever to whoever, because I think it's important to share my story of lived experience to give hope to other people, for people to know that there is the possibility to have the courage to come back and that you can lead a meaningful life.
Please join me in welcoming the 2024 Courage to Come Back Award recipient for mental health, Bailey McKnight.
I would first like to show my gratitude to Coast Mental Health Foundation for allowing me to receive the Courage to Come Back Award. This award is a reminder of how far I've come and an acknowledgement of the accomplishments I've made over the years. It is important to share my story to give people hope that it is possible to come back from adversity and live a life worth living. Borderline personality disorder is highly stigmatized and misunderstood, and I want people to know that they are not alone. I am not my disorder. I am not crazy, attention-seeking, or manipulative. I am a person that has experienced unimaginable trauma and fought hard for the life I have today. My mom, dad, stepmom, and sister have been instrumental to my growth, and I couldn't have done it without them. My BPD community has helped me to build connection and purpose to keep pursuing my dreams of supporting people. And I can't forget Brian for being my right-hand man as Vice President of the BPD Society. To my clients for inspiring me as I walk beside them on their journey, a huge shout out to my friends, Sage, Scott, Erica, Gary, Michelle, Tabby, Jody, too many to name, who have been there for me through thick and thin, in my darkest moments, answer my calls in the middle of the night through crisis. I would not be alive today without my family, friends, and community, and I am forever grateful. To the universe that has guided me with wisdom, taught me hard lessons, and strength to keep going. And lastly, I thank the people who have broken me, because without those shattered pieces of me, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Keep going, you're worth it.
Congratulations, Bailey. What an important message for all of us, and thank you so much for that inspiring speech. Now, Coast Mental Health has several employment programs, including the Clubhouse Training Employment Program and the Culinary Skills Training Camps.
So they also operate 2 social enterprises, which I found so fascinating. So the Social Crust Cafe, which is a great cafe on Pender that I think I might need to check out before we leave, and obviously everybody here should check out if you haven't already. And you may notice cookies on your table, which were actually made by the culinary students from the Social Crust Cafe. So super, super cool.
The second enterprise is Coast's Landscaping with Heart program, which offers professional landscaping training and employment. Take a look.
According to the Canadian Mental Health Association, 90% of people with chronic mental illness are unemployed. Yet we know that working can generate positive effects for those with mental illness, such as restoring a sense of dignity and belonging. Coast Mental Health understands mental illness doesn't need to be an obstacle to employment. They provide opportunities for training, education, and employment in flexible environments that consider the needs of people living with mental illness. Opportunities like Coast's Landscaping with Heart program, which has been running for over 20 years. Even through the challenges of COVID-19, the program has continued to expand. Landscaping with Heart opens doors for clients by providing professional training and employment. Not only does the program promote purpose, it also provides meaningful work and social inclusion. Supporting programs like Landscaping with Heart is another way to help reduce stigma and assist those recovering from mental illness. Canada Life is a proud supporter of Coast Mental Health, and we hope you'll join us with a donation today.
To present this year's Courage to Come Back Award in the medical category, please welcome to the stage Vice President of Sales and Business Development for Canada Life, Francesco Di Schiani.
The Courage to Come Back Award in the medical category honors someone who's experienced a life-altering medical condition, yet battles to overcome the adversity they face on a daily basis. This person continues to search for solutions brought on by their challenges while inspiring others.
I have a bone disease called osteogenesis imperfecta. Osteo meaning bone, genesis meaning genetic or in the beginning, and imperfecta means not exactly perfect, but then who is? I was so fragile that I could sneeze and break a rib. I could hiccup and break a rib. Coughing extensively could break a rib. And this was a constant challenge. They estimate about 500 bones broken, cracked, hairline fractures or complete fractures. The doctors basically said I would die within the first year of birth because when a baby breaks a bone, the bones are not fully formed and they bleed internally, they hemorrhage. So I would bleed to death. But out of all the hospital children that they had with my disease, I was the only one that survived. And they couldn't understand why I lived past one. So my hurdles began very early in life. And then I just grew up from there, and I had hurdle after hurdle. And it wasn't just physical hurdles. There was also psychological hurdles, emotional hurdles, children teasing you in school, picking on you, bullying on you. Is it easy to manage? No, but what life is easy to manage?
Monica gets her strength from her faith. Yeah, she's written a very interesting book. It's called Overcoming the Impossible. And she's very strong in her faith.
I feel like that me being an author helps give back because it has some practical advice in the book. There's one underlying message in that book, and that is persistence, perseverance, constantly persevering. You have to constantly push the envelope. And I plan to continue pushing the envelope.
Monica and I love to travel. And people don't realize it, but for someone with a disability, usually they need an assistant to come along with them.
I had an epiphany, and I thought, what if there was a nonprofit organization that paid for the travel expenditures of your caregiver? So transportation, accommodation, and a meal stipend. And we all went, oh yeah, that's a great idea. So the Canadian Assisted Travel Society came to be for myself. I don't look for a companion, but an actual caregiver, because the person needs to physically help me onto the plane, make sure my chair gets put in the underbelly of the aircraft. They need to physically help me to the bathroom. Some of our clients need physically to be fed because they're quadriplegics. All these personal needs that you most likely take for granted.
Hotels might think, oh, it's a request. Well, getting in and out of the bathroom is not a request. It's a must-have. And so we spend a lot of time educating the travel industry about the special needs of people with disabilities.
I don't see myself as a person with a disability. I think a person with a disability is someone that doesn't have an imagination of what you can do. I've been to Germany, I've been to Australia, and I go to museums in both, and even the color pigmentation of the paint is different. And to see that up front and our history is just, our history of humanity is just, it's a beautiful thing. To be denied that experience is shattering. I mean, what this does is it helps level the playing field of my able-bodied counterparts. I'm involved in numerous projects. I am on the board for CATS. I'm writing my second book, and I'm writing a play as well. I'm still volunteering at the moment for Peers on Pages, revamping the program possibly. I'm not trying to be inspirational. I just want to help people. I just feel I'm a little woman in a wheelchair trying to lead the best life I can. And even though the odds are stacked against me, I'm still succeeding. So if I'm still succeeding, why can't you succeed?
Please welcome this year's Medical Award recipient, Monica Gartner.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed dignitaries, guests, Lauren, and the Coast Mental Health Courage to Come Back Awards team. It is with great pleasure that I address you this evening. Now, before I begin, I would like to tell you a little story. I used to work in a call center, and one Christmas, the management decided to buy us a box of chocolates. And in this box of chocolates was a round marzipan ball, or Marzipan in German. And I put it on my desk for later, and it accidentally rolled down. So I asked my colleague if he could please pick it up for me. And he looked at me rather strangely. And I said, come on, I can't pick it up. Can you pick it up for me, please? So he hesitantly looked down and around the corner, and he had this greatest sigh of relief on his face. And I said, what did you think I said? He said, oh, I thought you said, can you pick up my maxi pad? So, clearly he didn't hear me. And he also made a huge assumption. And unfortunately, that's what I faced in the hospital this last time, an assumption of who I am. And that's what people with disabilities face every day, assumptions of what they can and can't do. My speech tonight is entitled, Because I Lived. Because I lived, I will continue to make it my mission to educate the healthcare community on ableism which they desperately need. Because I lived, I will continue to fight for individuals with disabilities who possesses the inherent right to live with dignity, lead fulfilled, independent lives, and deserve equitable recognition and appreciation within society, mirroring the respect afforded to all. Because I live, I will continue to do book signings for Overcoming the Impossible, A Life of Trials and Triumphs, and including public speaking events. Because I lived, I will continue to support nonprofit organizations such as the Canadian Assisted Travel Society and Technology for Living. Because I lived, I will continue to work with my agent at Hectocue Artists to promote acting roles for people who are differently able, like myself. Before I leave you, I would like to quote a few words from Mother Teresa's poem entitled, "Life is Life." Life is a promise, fulfill it. Life is a struggle, accept it. Life is a tragedy, confront it. Life is too precious, do not destroy it. Life is life, fight for it. Thank you to everyone, especially Lauren and the Coast Mental Health Courage to Come Back Awards team. Sponsors, my nominator Dennis Valancourt, my sister Anita, my nieces Emily and Nicole, and my God. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm gonna.
Monica, it was a pleasure listening to your story, and I want to thank you so much for sharing it and being such a true inspiration. And congratulations on your award that is so well deserved. For our next video, we'd like to invite to the stage another one of the Courage to Come Back Awards media sponsors.
From City News 1130, please welcome to the stage John Ackerman.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you to Coast Mental Health for including City News 1130 once again at the Courage to Come Back Awards. It's been so eye-opening to see these stories and to hear about the tremendous work that Coast Mental Health does in the community. It's obvious that they really do change lives. The impact is great. Each and every individual who utilizes Coast Mental Health services and programs is one step closer to recovery, one step closer towards a more fulfilling life. Daly is one of those Coast members whose life has been impacted thanks to the generosity of people like you. Let's meet her now.
My diagnosis is OCD and then also like psychosis a bit and PTSD. I ended up in the psych ward because I was hearing like 10,000 voices and it made me go insane. So I tried to jump and I was caught. Sorry. Yeah, I jumped and I was caught by firefighters, and they brought me to the psych ward.
For some people living with mental illness, suicide can seem like the only option. But thanks to the generosity of people like you, there are resources available to give these folks the tools to stay safe.
I was in the psych ward a lot before Coast, and it's helped me stay out of the psych ward for quite some time.
So right now you're having to sort of problem solve.
Coast Mental Health fosters a sense of worth and belonging as clients bridge the gap between hospitals and the wider community, offering support, guidance, and compassion to clients like Daly.
There's nothing at Coast that I haven't done at least once. I did the culinary program. I've done the peer support program, and I've done rabble rousers for about 6 years. And I'm also doing the street cleaning program here, as well as the music and brain training. The brain training program is like a program with Amy, and that's basically just skills to learn how to deal with your behaviors to different emotions. I'm gonna go over to my sister's place.
At Coast Mental Health, giving back isn't just encouraged, it's transformative. When clients give their time and support, they not only enrich the community, but also find purpose and fulfillment in their own recovery journey.
I really like street cleaning because it's really great because it's an exercise, but also a lot of people will come on the street and they'll say, oh, thank you, or hi, or they'll wave at us, or yeah, which makes me feel like I have a purpose. It's important for me to give back because you guys been so much to me, so I want to give back to people too.
In a world where mental health matters more than ever, you offer hope. Through your generosity, Coast works to create a world where seeking help is a sign of strength and courage, not weakness.
Some of the stigmas I'd like to see get erased would be like just making mental health a priority as much as physical health is. Don't think about judgments, don't think about being a burden. Think about what you need and reach out and get the help that you need. Of course I'm happy. Of course I'd say I'm happy. Yeah, Coast has changed my life for the better.
And that brave young woman is here with us tonight. Would you please acknowledge the courage it took to share her story and the power she holds in her words? Daly, would you please stand?
Thank you, John, and thank you, Daly, for sharing your story. We're all here tonight to make sure people like Daly who are living with mental illness get the support they need when they need it. There are thousands of Coast's members who rely on Coast as a bridge between the hospital and the community, thanks to the incredible community of donors funded through generous people like all of you here tonight. So thank you so much for all of your support.
And of course, as you know, you can support Coast Mental Health as well. To tell us how we can help, please welcome a longtime supporter of Coast Mental Health, Mr. Howard Blank.
Thank you very much, Sophia and Jillian, and welcome, folks. And before I start our first portion of Fund and Need, how many of you is this your first time to Courage to Come Back? By a show of hands. Wow. How many of you have been here before with us? Awesome. Well, welcome, everybody. This is truly one of the most special evenings of the year, and it's an honor for me to be here to help in the fundraising capacity. Did you know that 1 in 5 British Columbians, that's 2 of every 10 people at our tables, will suffer or be affected by a mental health or a substance addiction issue? That's 20% of British Columbians. You can help support programs like peer support training, music and art therapy, brain training, employment, which is critical, we'll talk a lot about, we just saw that wonderful video, meals, and so much more. Now, those critical funds support innovative, community-based, essential recovery programs and services at Coast Mental Health. Now, there are envelopes at your tables. If you'll see the manila envelope at your table, you have a chance now to give on your own way. So there's also a QR code on the back of your program, right here. Or there's also a QR code on your table, on your screens as well. You can see right there. Look, you can even do that. So you can use your phone right there to go on the screen. And what the opportunity is right now, folks, is give whatever you can. You will get a full tax receipt right now, and this is what we call the give privately from the heart. That means you can give personally or corporately at whatever amount you feel that you're able to do. You will receive a full tax receipt from Coast, and we will add that to our total tonight and talk about the lives who we've changed right here. The 1,700 wonderful individuals in this room tonight will be affecting those people. Some we may know, some we may yet to know, and some we may never know. But Coast reaches out day in and day out to help these folks. So please, use the QR. Thank you, sir. I saw you doing that. That's awesome. Use the QR on your phone. That's easy. But if you're old school and you want to write it down, please grab your sheet of paper. Do it now, folks. We will be coming back later with a special live Fund a Need, which I know if you've been here before, you know how exciting and wonderful it is as people get to share in their giving, our philanthropy section of the evening. But right now, it's your personal opportunity to do this. So we have just another minute or so. Now, I want to tell you something else that I'm going to come back to a little later on, and that is Coast gives its clients the opportunity to have the feeling of respect and acceptance and love, and to share in that compassion. As we sit here tonight and have our wonderful meals, did you know that meals are subsidized? So for every single member of the Coast family to come in and take advantage of them, but they're not for free. They're a toonie. And why a toonie? Because it gives you that wonderful self-satisfaction of knowing you earned that money to have this amazing meal. And that's what's critical of one of the many pillars Coast reaches out. And that's giving people self-worth. Celebrating those people. We talked about employment opportunities. Other people who may have no one to turn to. Coast is always there, and thanks to you, this is how we can do it. So as we wrap this up, folks, please fill out your forms, throw them in your envelopes, use your QR code. I'm going to be back, as I said, a little later on where we do a very special live Fund a Need. We've got about 20 seconds left here. And as we wrap this up, I want to do something very special tonight we've never done. And I've been here for 18 years, and this is something very unique, and we thought, you know what? To raise money for Coast, why not? This could be really fun, and I think you folks are going to love it. To help me out, we have some all-stars, as you know, who come out during our second act. They're going to come out right now. Would you please join me in welcoming former NHL goaltender and mental health advocate and Courage to Come Back recipient, Corey Hirsch. Two-time BC Country Music Humanitarian of the Year recipient for his work with Project Follow Your Heart with Variety, the Children's Charity of British Columbia, and so many other works, Todd Richard. He is the Manager of Events and Corporate Engagement with Coast. Please join me in welcoming Richard O'Shaughnessy. Our international best-selling author and TV host, Robin Esrock, is the author of Canada's biggest-selling travel books, including The Great Canadian Bucket List and The Great Global Bucket List. Please join me in welcoming Robin Esrock. This amazing lady joins us from the 94.5 Virgin Radio morning program of Holly and Nira. Please join me in welcoming Nira Arora. Here, making their first-time debut at the Courage to Come Back Awards is David Russell, an actor, writer, and comedian from Coquitlam. Join me in welcoming David Russell. And last but certainly not least, this gentleman is best known as the founding artistic director of Bard on the Beach, the Shakespearean Festival, the Honorable Mr. Christopher Gaze. Now, please turn on your wands to our All-Stars, as Christopher just did. Get a wave so I can see you. I'm going to need your help because we are doing our first ever Courage to Come Back live auction. One item. But boy, is this an item you won't soon forget. You're going to receive 2 nights at a River Rock Hotel Penthouse, a $100 meal voucher, and $500 to try your luck in the casino. And also, 2 floor tickets to the December 6th show of Taylor Swift here in Vancouver. Want to thank the wonderful Brent Marshall. Where are you, Brent? Give a wave. Right there. Thank you very much, Brent. I want to thank Chuck Keeling, a Great Canadian, for also donating the amazing hotel package. These tickets are the hottest ones to come. I can tell you that at other auctions I've done with Taylor Swift, we've had gazillions of dollars raised. So here we go. We're going to turn up the lights. We're going to see who's going to give us some money for these tickets. Reminder, this is not a donation, so you are going to pay. There's no tax receipt for your tickets. Here we go. Who's going to start me up at $5,000 for the back? I got 5,000 looking for 7, 7 in the back looking for 9. I got 9,000 looking for 10, 10 in the back. Who's going to be 12? I got 10,000 in the back corner. Who's going to be 12,000? I got 10,000 looking for 12. Who's going to be 2,000 more? 10 in the back corner. Who's going to be 12? I've got 10,000 in the back corner. Who's going to be 12? Olivia has $12,000 right up here. Thank you very much to our 14. I got 12,000 looking for 14. Who's going to be 2 more? 12,000 looking for 14. Every dollar goes to Coast. 12,000 looking for 14. I got 12 looking for 14. 14,000, thank you very much. You get 16, ma'am. For 16,000, Lauren will personally tuck you and your guest in at the River Rock. I got 14 looking for 16. It's going to be 16,000. 14,000 looking for 16. I've got 14 looking for 16. Here's going to be 2,000 more. We got to move on. 14 looking for $16,000. Thank you very much. Here's going to be 18. I got 16,000 looking for 18. Here's going to be 2,000 more. 16 right there looking for 18. I've got 16,000. We're 18,000 right over there. Thank you very much. 18 looking for 20. Here's going to be 2,000 more. I've got 18 looking for 20. 18,000 looking for 20. I've got 18 in the back corner there looking for 20. Here's going to be 2 more. $20,000. Thank you very much. I got 20 looking for 22. I got 20 looking for 22. It's going to be 2,000 more. 20,000 looking for 22. I got 20 looking for 22. For 22,000, we're going to give you and your spouse or your guest VIP transportation to and from BC Place. Who's going to give me 22,000? I got 20 looking for 22. 20,000 looking for 22. Anybody else? 20,000 looking for 22. Where? Right here, $22,000. Thank you very much, right there. Awesome. Thank you, Nero, thank you very much. 22,000. Is that you at table 63? Right there? Lauren, make a note. 2 tickets on the Canada line for this gentleman. There we go. Who's going to be 24,000? I got 22 looking for 24. It's going to be 2,000 more. We got to move on. Every dollar's going to Coast. This is amazing. 22 looking for 24. Anybody else? Last call, folks, we got to move. 22,000 going once. 22 looking for 24 going twice. Third and final time, all set, all done. Sold, $22,000. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Brent, for that amazing donation. Congratulations for our recipient of the tickets. Folks, let's enjoy dinner now. I will see you all as we continue with our Courage to Come Back. Enjoy. See you soon.
Courage for me means bravery. It means making the decision to get up in the morning when otherwise it might be easy to not do that. To get up and get my kids ready for school, then be really, really tired and have to go to sleep after they leave. But also to try to normalize my life by having the courage to do that, even though sometimes it can be really hard.
I understand that I wasn't walking and now I am. I understand that I wasn't talking and now I am. And I'm using those things. And when I was fighting for those things to get back to life, it was about getting back to life. You're not thinking about, I don't want to be afraid, or this is going to take courage. I wasn't thinking in terms of that at all. I was thinking about, I had a life, it's been taken. I want it back.
Oh, Coast Mental Health has meant so much. They were my supports when I was going through a rough time and wasn't able to really support myself. They were always there to help me out. Just being trans and transitioning, I think, does take courage, and I think putting myself out there, like for the research project and the housing projects, yeah, I guess it takes a certain amount of courage.
Courage means to me that, you know, you have courage to do something, to push through. And you have the ability to push through tough things. And that's what I have done. Pushing through it is what a lot of people with autism and ADHD need to do. And they can't give up. You can't give up in life. And that is my moral. Don't ever give up in life.
Every chance I got to shine a light of hope, I can do it. And if it means pouring some juice, putting some food on the table, or stuffing oranges in some socks with a candy and handing it to people on the way out the door, or whether it's cleaning the toilets, I'm there for that reason. Because, again, people did it for me. It's time to give it back, right?
We hope you're enjoying your wonderful dinners this evening, and it's now time to get back to our awards and our award winners. First, we want to remind you, while we're all here, to support Coast Mental Health. Coast helps almost 5,000 people served through housing, psychosocial rehabilitation and recovery, employment, and educational programming.
So now we want to show you how firsthand your dollars can affect programs like Coast Mental Health's music therapy. Music therapy can help people cope with a wide variety of health issues, from managing symptoms of depression or abuse, reducing anxiety and the physical effects of stress, and improving self-expression and communication.
Music therapy provides individuals living with mental illness the opportunity to improve their self-esteem, confidence, mood, sleep, and day-to-day cognitive functions. Let's take a look.
Did you know that last year, Coast Mental Health offered 45 innovative programs, including peer support training, meals programs, and music therapy? Music therapy offers a creative opportunity for people to connect with each other and themselves in new ways. An accredited therapist uses music to promote, maintain, and restore mental, physical, and emotional health. It gives people a way to express themselves in their emotions in a supportive setting. Coast music therapists have noticed a big difference in many clients' moods and conditions since starting. Some folks who have never spoken up have started sharing their emotions and feelings. a huge step in their recovery. Coast currently has more than a dozen weekly music therapy groups across their homes and drop-in centers. It's one of the most popular groups, and it is in high demand. That's why RBC is so proud to support Coast Mental Health's work, and why we encourage you to make a donation to Coast today.
Coast is grateful to all of their partners, one of those being our platinum sponsor, RBC Royal Bank. RBC believes in the power of youth and, like Coast Mental Health, provides hope for a brighter tomorrow.
So, here to announce the award in the category of youth, please welcome Grant Damery, Managing Director of Enterprise Private Clients. To say.
With RBC.
Who I bank with, so.
Thank you so much.
An amazing bank, the best bank, obviously. Thanks for being a sponsor.
And thank you for the introduction, ladies. The Courage to Come Back Award for youth recognizes someone under the age of 25 who has overcome illness, injury, or social or economic challenges. This young person has confidently encouraged others, both young and old, in their journey.
I was very, very depressed and I was suicidal. I didn't want to be here. When you're in high school especially and you're being bullied, you believe that it's going to be like that forever and you're never going to get over it. So I was born with apraxia of speech, and the simplest way to describe apraxia of speech is that the pathway between my brain and my mouth isn't there. My parents were told at the age when I was 2 years old that I would never speak, I would never be able to communicate with anyone else. So because of that, I also developed anxiety and depression in high school. So I've dealt with both mental illness as well as a speech condition.
And unfortunately, she really took a beating. Like, she was really seriously bullied almost instantly because she sounded different. And because she tried so hard, I think people got the wrong impression from her that, you know, that maybe she didn't understand them or whatever, but they just really didn't get her. And it was sad. It was sad to watch.
In the 9th grade, I was bullied by a teacher. I believe a lot of it was because of my speech impediment, that I was someone different. She was telling me things that I didn't belong. She would call me a retard, and I didn't want to be here. I had suicidal thoughts. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to be myself. I was ashamed to speak.
It was a struggle for sure. Once she started pageantry, it changed that. So that was kind of the moment where she got some more confidence. Plus she started to peer tutor, so she was helping children that had different disabilities. And although she didn't ever stand up for herself to the bullies, she started standing up to them for these other kids.
And a big part of the pageant world is you have to speak on your platform. And I went on that stage and I spoke about being bullied. And at that point I didn't even mention my speech impediment or my disability. I just spoke about being bullied, and people listened. It gave me confidence because I was able to stand up to the bullies and show them that, like, okay, what you say is not true. And I can do amazing things with my life, and I can make a difference regardless of what somebody has told me or somebody has said about me.
Watching how Sam has gone from somebody that was very, in a very dark place in her teenage years to somebody that's very successful now in all aspects of her life, really, has just been great as a parent. It's what you want for your children. And to know that she's changing the world in such a good, positive way, I couldn't be more proud.
Yeah, so I founded Be Someone's Hero Not a Bystander in 2015. So I've been featured in several magazines with Be Someone's Hero Not a Bystander. So I've gone to elementary schools and high schools to teach children about what bullying actually looks like and what to do when we see bullying. Who's this? Who is it? So the biggest thing is in 2022, I founded Raising Stars Preschool, which was a dream come true to give all children, regardless of background, whether it's religious, disability, family status, any type of background, a place where they can have quality education. So to be able to create a very inclusive space is probably my favorite way to give back. But on top of that, I've also been able to speak and walk in places and to be able to travel all over North America and share my story and how we can make a difference, and most importantly, how we can include each other.
Sam's really good at how she speaks to the children about the subject and how she tells them, you know, we all have hearts, we all have feelings, we all want love. We may look different and act different, but basically we're all the same because we all have that heart that needs the same thing.
So I think social media is a very powerful tool that I've been able to use to reach out to people from all over the world to make a difference. I use my public figure pages to show individuals that a disability does not define you. One of my favorite things to say is I have apraxia, but apraxia does not have me. I've come to terms now that I will always have what's called the apraxia accent, and that's why I do sound a little different. Well, I have spoken at the, they call it the National Apraxia Conference, but it's kind of the North American Apraxia Conference, so I've been able to speak at that conference. As well as work with different speech-language pathologists. I support them quite often. I work with them to create a youth support system, because once these children become teenagers, especially with apraxia, you're kind of sometimes dwindled out a lot of these charities and a lot of these supports.
I think her greatest achievement is overcoming her teenage years, because it was so hard. As much as she cried all day, I cried all night, and I know what she went through, and it was pretty bleak. Like, she was able to turn something really awful into something super positive.
So I really want to work, especially with the government and with other major entities, about how we can support children with disabilities and how we can look for bullying in these settings to help these children that are in these very, very dark spaces. Because I know what it's like to be in those dark spaces. I can still make a difference regardless of my disability.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 Courage to Come Back Award recipient in the youth category, please join me in congratulating and welcoming Samantha Sewell.
As I stand up here, I can't help but to think about my 14-year-old self, who did not want to be here. Never in a million years would I thought I would be on a stage like this, accepting an award for my story, my mental health, my apraxia. I am deeply honored to receive this award. This recognition is not just for me, but it's for every single child out there with apraxia or any disability that has been told that they can't. I hope anyone who is questioning their abilities, feeling uncertain about their future due to a diagnosis, or who has been struggling with depression as a result of bullying or feeling isolated, sees this and knows that things will improve. I want to give the biggest thanks to my parents, my mom and dad, for always being my biggest supporters. You never stopped believing in me, encouraging me to pursue my aspirations and strive for greater things. I would never have reached this point without you. I want to thank Wendy Russo, my coach, for teaching me how to use my disability for a beacon of hope. Without you, I wouldn't be able to use my stories to help as many people as I have. I want to thank everyone who has supported me through my nomination for this award, my pageantry, my advocacy work over the past several years. I am truly grateful for everyone who has stood by me, worn blue for me on Apraxia Day, shared my posts about bullying, and shared my stories. Your support means everything to me. Finally, I want to express my gratitude to the entire team here at Coast Mental Health for making this experience magical and exciting and allowing me to share my story to help so many others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Congratulations on your award, and thank you for those inspiring words. To present this year's Courage to Come Back Award in the category of addiction, please welcome the president of the Jivad Wafagian Foundation, Hamid Eshki.
Good evening. This Courage to Come Back Award recognizes someone who, despite their addiction to drug or alcohol, has managed to stay in recovery and go on to make significant contribution to the society. This person continues to provide support to those who are less fortunate by using the obstacle that impact their life to help the others in their own journey.
I would probably been stabbed like 12 times down here. You know, my face, 50 stitches in my face, head shot at, like it got bad. I'm lucky to be breathing, I'm lucky to be alive. Very blessed.
I've seen Kevin struggle, and I think that he doesn't give himself enough credit sometimes for how far he's come and the inspiration that he's created for so many people.
Kevin's just such a kind person, and he makes everyone feel comfortable and happy. Doesn't matter where you're from, where you live, he has no judgment.
I think I've literally been fighting my whole entire life. That's how it kind of feels, even still to this day. I mean, I started smoking cigarettes and smoking marijuana when I was probably 10. But by the time I was 13 years old was the first time I put cocaine or crack into my system. And I remember when I took that first substance, that crack, and I blew the smoke, and I remember how I felt. And immediately, what came out of my mouth was, "Can I have more?" I remember. And then I'm 50 now, so that's a long time ago. So a few times I'd come down here, I'd buy drugs, I'd leave. And one time, I just basically came down here to buy drugs and never left. I always lived in guilt. You know what I mean? People had this nickname for me on the street. It was called high and cry, because I'd get high and I'd start crying. Because I'd be so sad that I knew I had children and a wife, and then I had people at home. And I was so addicted to heroin, it was I couldn't leave. Don't get me wrong, I'm running around, I'm getting high. I thought it was fun. So I was married to Shiloh, and we have 2 children together. Shiloh was amazing. She never, ever said a bad word about me to my children all those years. She just told them I was sick.
After over 20 years of addiction, a decade of homelessness, and a stint in a federal penitentiary for drug dealing, Kevin was offered one last chance, a stay at the Salvation Army's Harbor Light Intake Program. It was there that he realized he wanted to stop taking drugs, and where he received an unexpected surprise.
I had gotten a call from the front desk saying, "Hey, there's a message for you at the front desk," and I went down there, and it was from Kevin and Shiloh. And it was, "Hey, give us a call." And I called, and that journey began with them again. I think we were together as about 8 or 9 years. And we just lived like a little family, it's just what I wanted was to make sure Kevin was okay. I think it was 2017, she was fainting. They did some scans and they found some cloudy matter in the brain scan. And within 3 weeks, we found out she had a very terminal brain cancer. She literally died probably maybe 8 months after that. So, oh man. it was so hard. Like, I mean, I can't even explain to you how hard it is to watch somebody go through that. And honestly, the whole time she was sick, I never thought about using it once. I knew wasn't the solution. I couldn't do that to Kevin. Nico couldn't do that to them.
So I met Kevin in 2017, and I just found him to be a super humble, strong man who's been through a lot in his life.
So me and Amy got married in 2019 at the end of the year. And then Julian was born about 6 months before that. So now we have Julian, who's now almost 5. And then we had Christian right after, 13 months after. So now now I have 4 boys. But I have an opportunity now to do things differently with these kids. They don't ever have to see me like that. And God willing, they'll never see me like that. Life is like so good and so precious. And so I don't take anything for granted. The relationship that my 4 boys have, when I see them together, I can't even control my emotions.
Kevin has led the way for hundreds to follow in his footsteps of recovery. He shares his story to help others and advocate for harm reduction, as well as diversity and inclusion for Black folks in the community, and now works supporting peers in the downtown East Side with supportive employment and wraparound supports.
I mean, I've been a part of a recovery community, different 12-step groups for years and years and years, and I moved into doing supportive housing harm reduction work probably 11 years ago, and that's my main focus. What our business does is we'll go and consult for folks, right? Like nonprofits or different organizations will call us in and they'll want to know about harm reduction practices, from a cultural safety lens, and I can do that around, with people of color. It all feels like all that suffering and all that hard stuff that I went through is now worth it, It's made me strong, it's made me learn a lot, and I'm able to share that with people so they can maybe help folks along the way as we're trying to do.
When we walk around downtown, there's so many people that still know him from when he was downtown, and they all give hugs and high fives, and it's just super cool. And I just love how he connects with our community.
I think that his courage comes from being in the darkest places. I love him to pieces, and I'm grateful to be alongside him.
Please welcome the 2024 Courage to Come Back Award recipient for addiction, Kevin Parker.
I'm going to try not to cry, but I'm going to cry for sure. Okay, well, I'll start off by saying thank you. What an amazing honor it is to have been chosen to receive this award, and a special thanks to Coast Mental Health for making this night so special for everybody that's been nominated and the recipients in each category. So I think my comeback, when I think about it, starts with my mom. She's not here tonight. She wishes she could be. She was my soft place to land no matter where I was in my life. She never judged me. Her door was always open. And I can remember she would pick me up from Main and Hastings numerous times, take me to hospitals, take me to different places when I was injured or when I was sick. She never gave up on me. Also, my late grandmother, Louise, together they supported me through some long, hard times on the downtown East Side, like decades. They also supported me through many different prison stints. When you go to prison, you find out who your people are, right? And I had one phone number that would answer the phone, literally, and that was either, maybe 2. So that was either Kevin's mom or my mom. So with my mother and grandmother's strength and love and support, I was able to be resilient and grow into the man I am today. Nico and Kevin Jr., my two oldest sons, they're here with me. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. You know, when those two allowed me back in their lives with the grace and forgiveness that they did 15 years ago, you know, I mean, I don't know where I'd be today if they didn't accept me back like that. You know, you're both such amazing, strong men. I'm just so proud of you, and I'm so proud of who you became amongst all the, you know, things that could have went differently for you all as well. So a big thank you to my coworkers at Spencer Creo. They're all here tonight. You know, they've been a huge sense of support, and they're like a work family to me, and they're all amazing and they're here, so thank you all for being here. And a huge thanks to the folks over at Rain City Housing, where, you know, I was given an opportunity over a decade ago to work in community in the downtown east side, and, you know, and grow into the person I am in the work that I do with folks that are, you know, struggling with mental health and addictions. So I have learned so much from my best friends, Rachel and Dave. They're also here tonight. My sister, Owana, and, you know, probably my biggest mentor, Tara Taylor. She's here tonight, too. She's the director of the Spencer Creo Foundation. You all have played such important and instrumental and pivotal roles in my life. I can't tell you how thankful I am. And you know, I don't know where I'd be without y'all. And, you know, there's many people who have played big and small roles in my comeback. And, you know, just thanks for everybody for showing up, rain or shine. So now, to the person who nominated me, and it's not the first time she did. I've been nominated a couple times. She's here tonight, and, you know, she's my rock. You know, she's my everything, and, you know, I honestly believe she was placed in my life, you know, very, very, very intentionally by God. You know, I'm not a super religious person, but I'm very spiritual, and I think I'll always believe that. So my wife, Amy, you know, is just an absolutely perfect life partner for me. You know, I want to thank her for always pushing me to where I never thought I could go. She's my biggest fan. She always believes in me. You know, she gave me a second chance to be a husband again, and, you know, to be a dad to the two little boys that I have now. And you know, my two older boys have taught me how to be a better dad to these little guys I have now. You know, she keeps me inspired so much from her struggles, from her past. She doesn't even know how much she inspires me. And, you know, without her, I don't know where I would be, for sure. And she's definitely the matriarch of our family. And I'll just wrap it up with this. And this to me is like the heart of some of the stuff why I wake up in the morning and when I go to work, what I'm doing. So for 15 years, you know, I've had lots of different interactions with folks in the downtown east side where I lived and worked for a number of years. What I profoundly, and I'll say that, profoundly remember from when I was homeless and actively using substances, when someone took the time to come by and walk by and say hello to me, you know, or even just a kind word or even a nod and a smile, that made me feel so good. You know, I was already isolated enough. I already felt terrible about myself. And those are the things that I held close in my heart when I was actively using substances. So that's what I do every single day, you know. I show people kindness and love, and I try to help people to retain their dignity when they're at the lowest points of their lives. You never know how far a smile or how low can go to a person. You know, it's a really hard time for folks in community. You know what, I'll say this, I love my community, and I want to spread hope in it every single day. One thing I'll tell people is that we do recover, and we can recover. So thank you all. I appreciate you all for listening to my story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for your words, and congratulations once again on your win. Now, we're hardly finished, and there's so much more to come, including our final recipient. We are about to move to the part of the evening where you, our wonderful audience, have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of thousands of people across the Lower Mainland.
Mental illness, It's touched so many of us. And that's why we're here tonight. We have to help end the stigma around mental health and support those in our community who really, truly need it the most. There is still so much more to come, including the grand total of what we are going to raise tonight. Thank you, Howard. Your energy is incredible, and I know that we were sitting backstage here thinking about the stories, thinking about how inspiring these stories were, how generous this room is, and we have a lot to celebrate tonight. And I hope you are as excited as we are to meet the 5th and final recipient of this year's Courage recipients.
Here to announce the award in the physical rehabilitation category, please give a warm welcome to Grant Murray, Senior Vice President of Sales with Concord Pacific Developments.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure. After having been here for 20 years, it's the first time I've been an award presenter, and I'm very humbled to do so. This Courage to Come Back award is given to someone who has experienced major injury or trauma which had required extensive physical rehabilitation. This person has overcome immense obstacles while supporting and inspiring others throughout their journey. Let's take a look.
I have known Leo since grade 1. Leo was very energetic, very enthusiastic, always playing sports, always winning the medals at different competitions. Of course, he loved boxing, so that was his passion.
Before my accident, life was, I guess, like every other post-grad student. I think it's just trying to find out who I am and trying to find a meaning in my life, and I think that was boxing. On March 13th, 2017, my accident day, that's when I was shot. Getting out of my vehicle, getting ready to go to boxing, I was shot 4 times, twice in the abdomen, 1 in the side and 1 in the back. Yeah, I mean, that changed my whole life after that. And I felt like I had no purpose, no meaning. I was paralyzed from your thoracic, T8, T9, complete injury, which means there's no sensories in my lower legs. I woke up from a coma. I had a lot of internal damage from 2 of the bullets in my abdomen, of course.
He fell into a stage of mental paralysis. The physical pain was very hard for him to deal with, but the mental state was even harder. This is what prevented him for the longest time to recognize that once one door closes, the other one opens.
What inspired me to be an athlete, again, was my family. Ursula, that day 1 after I was out of rehab, took me to a program that was running after the Olympics, and it was called Search for the Next Paralympian.
I think his eyes opened, that his attitude completely changed, because he has seen young people in exactly the same situation that he was, and he believed in himself.
You have the power right now to make the next choice in your life. I think that all the things I do or have done proved it to myself, whether it's climbing grouse, crying on your hands, or Arenal volcano in Costa Rica, or the Grand Fondo on a hand cycle. I had to do what I had to do for myself, and I think that's the best thing for people, is to find your way, find your meaning.
I have never known anybody like him that would overcome the barriers that he had and he would achieve as much for himself and for the community. He's my champion, he's my idol. He would have talks with young adults about his experiences and telling them that no matter how life could be hard, you can always recover. You can always be the person that you want to be.
It's so important to give back to the community because just knowing where I came from and how it all started and feeling that loneliness. No one wants to come into a fight with no corner. So West Coast Wheelchair Adaptive Boxing was actually, I guess it formed after I found my own way back in the boxing gym. And you know, for someone like with a spinal cord injury, or if they're quadriplegic or paraplegic or MS or any other ability, you know, we don't discriminate. You come in our class and there's no excuse, you're working hard.
Well, I tell him all the time that he saved my life. Yes, it was my decision to try the sport and to see where it would take me, but before I met Leo, I was in so much pain with my condition that I was literally taking 30 milligrams of OxyContin 3 times a day. And now I'm not even on any narcotics.
Maybe this is the third, fourth round. I believe I have so much more to accomplish, and I also, you know, believe the sky's the limit here. And I think that's the most important thing is attitude, and that's the last human right that someone has in this world, is the ability to choose one's attitude towards something. And when you make that choice, that's power in itself. The ability to choose one's attitude towards whatever situation comes in your path.
It is my extreme pleasure and honor to present this year's 2024 Courage to Come Back Award in the Physical Rehabilitation category to Leo Samarelli. Please join me in welcoming Leo to the stage.
Hey everybody. Man, someone just told me to break a leg up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive the Courage to Come Back Award. I'd like to thank my friends, the community, and most importantly, my family, who have supported me since day one. This recognition means more to me than words can express. I stand before you. Wait, no. I sit before you, not just as an individual, but a symbol of resilience, determination, and the power of the human spirit to overcome adversity. It's been nearly 7 years since my injury, and 7 years since my life has changed entirely. The pain is something I remember vividly. Since then, I have trained and mentored hundreds of athletes and continue to teach people through boxing what it means to be a fighter, inside and outside the ring. I believe people are either born fighters, some are bred to be fighters, and others have no choice to become a fighter. But above all, it's our primal nature to be a fighter. It's what makes us human. Through my organization, West Coast Wheelchair Adaptive Boxing, I seek to revolutionize the world of adaptive sports, empowering individuals to discover their own strength and potential. Once Boxing, once thought to be exclusive to able-bodied athletes, has become a platform for inclusivity and empowerment. If there's one thing I've learned on this journey, it is the importance of kindness and respect. Each of us will meet thousands of people in our lifetimes. If kindness is shown to even just one person, it will initiate a ripple effect, just like tonight. And that will cause a chain of reactions that has the potential to change lives of thousands or even millions of people around our community and the world. It doesn't take winning titles, marathons, or climbing mountains on your hands to make an impact. I can assure you that regardless of your gender, ethnic, or religious background, your orientation, or your social status, it is possible, but you will fail at times. You will likely fall often, and it will be painful. It will be discouraging, and in many cases, you will want to throw in the towel. At times, it will test you to your very core. But if you want to change the world we live in, you'll have to bite down on that mouth guard and jab your way through whatever comes at you. You must be your very best in your darkest moments. There's a term in boxing, roll with the punches, meaning that when your opponent plans a punch, you move with the punch to lessen the impact. As I've continued on this journey, I've come to find a new meaning to this term, and that is not to allow difficulties or circumstances to discourage you badly from the fight. The great Mike Tyson once said that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the spinal cord. I mean face. My journey doesn't end there. My dream is to represent Canada on the world stage. I'm not only here to take part with the best athletes the world has to offer, I'm here to take over. Together, thank you. Together, we can shatter stereotypes, defy expectations, and pave the way for a better future where every individual is given an opportunity to thrive. Thank you for believing in us, for honoring us with these prestigious awards, and for joining me on this incredible journey towards a brighter and more inclusive tomorrow. Keep your hands up, folks. Thank you.
Leo, congratulations from all of us, and thank you so much for those inspiring words.
Before this evening ends, we'd like to invite co-chairs of tonight's gala, Erik Karlsson and Lauren Seagal, to the stage, and they're going to share their thoughts and also the total that we've raised this evening. Erik Karlsson and Lauren, please come to the stage.
I think we set a record tonight. Not just, I don't know what the total is yet, but in terms of time, this is the earliest Courage to Come Back Awards in 26 years. We're actually going to, I think we're going to be finished before our projected end time, which was 9:45. So glad to see that there's still some people here tonight. Normally, I would say a few words at this point, but I think by popular demand, I am not going to speak tonight because I already did speak, and you don't want to hear me again anyways. And Eric did a lot of the heavy lifting for me, Eric, with the thank yous, and actually stole my thunder. I got a long list of thank yous here, but he thanked everyone already, so I think I do want to have a special shout out to Jillian and Sophia. Where did you go? There you are. Okay. Our MCs for the evening. Wow, what a job, and especially Sophia. You know, last minute for you too, because Chris was ill. I want to, Eric, you'll have a few words, I'm sure, but I really want to say thank you to my family, really, and in particular, I'll start with our son, Matthew, who brings so much joy into our life, and you know, this becomes the whole family gets involved in this. It's really hard to separate this kind of thing from your family. It's just part of it, and I want to say that he's single and eligible. He has good genes, nice teeth, and you can just use my email because I'm his agent. We're booking into 2025. So, Matthew, I don't know if you're there still. I apologize. I know I'm going to be in trouble for this. And Melita, my wife. You know, I'm usually, okay, here we go. All right. You have no idea what I've been through the last 26 years whenever I mention her name. I'm in the doghouse invariably for periods of time. I even sang to her one year. That wasn't good enough. So, but in a serious vein, Melita, you have been my strength for the past 38 years. Hard to believe, 38 years. And I know I don't tell you enough how I feel, but I love you more each day, and I mean that, and that should be, I should be out of the doghouse for that one, I hope, but I do mean it, and I don't tell you that enough, and I'm telling you tonight, again, in front of 1,700 people, so there you go. Eric, do you want to add anything to, you do, okay. That's good. And then
this is good. We have a half hour allocated. I get the rest of the time.
No, we don't.
No, I know. The only thing I wanted to say is I want to bring it back to the award recipients, having had the pleasure of meeting them through this process. And Bailey, how you've managed to come from where you have come from to be so creative in creating your solution. Kevin, my man, I mean, you are so tough, and I'm just so inspired by your current situation where you come from. Monica, you are so smart, and that's not the thing that inspires me most about you. You're so positive. You just, I felt energized just hanging out with you. Samantha, what you've come through to rise up and be a leader at such a young age and wear those really cool glasses are awesome. And Leo, I am going to work out starting first thing tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Okay, to add to that a little bit, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, this 26th anniversary of the Courage to Come Back Awards, you have done honor by your presence, by your extraordinary generosity and by your deliberate purpose to 5 people of distinction. Individuals who could have given up but instead chose to dedicate their spirit to the welfare of their fellow man. And so I want to, ask Eric to help me welcome back to the stage. But I think maybe we should do the total first. What do you think, Howard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, Lauren. One thing, folks, before I read this total, for the cards that you folks wonderfully filled out, the 115 or so, please leave them on your table. Fill out the back and leave them on your table. It was my error to have them pick them up. So if somebody picked it up, give it back to them. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, your generosity and your love and your caring tonight helped us raise an amazing $1,722,000. And now we'd ask our hosts, Sophia and Jillian, to please come up for the photo, and all our recipients, please come up. We'd like to welcome you up for our final photo.
Okay.
Give it up for your recipients for 2024.
Yes.
Courage to come back.
Bailey McKnight, Monica Gardner, Samantha Sewell, Kevin Parker, and Leo Samarelli. Thank you, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the 2024 Courage to Come Back. We will see you in 2025. Thank you for your love, for your support, and for your courage.